Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil kareem. Amma ba'd. So we finish this small little booklet, Introduction to Arabic, First Steps to Understanding Nahw. So I just want to go over, summarize the book. Obviously, we can't do everything, but we just summarize the main points, main chapters, and analyze how everything fits together. So the first thing you do is you have words. You put words together, what do you form? Sentences. Sentences have slots which can be broken down into phrases. And then instead of having the slots all the time, instead of having a single word, we can have, instead of having noun, you can have what? Pronouns. Then you go one step further, and those slots, instead of being phrases, they can be what? Sentences within sentences. And then you join sentences together. So you have one sentence complete, then you join them together. And that's how the language really works. Obviously, there's more Arabic rules which are specific to Arabic. But in a nutshell, even you can even apply this to English as well. Any language, how any language is structured and made up. Okay? So let's analyze words first. Correct? So words. Ism. And then regarding ism, what are the four characteristics? D-I-N-G. So ism, fa'il and harf. And then regarding ism, we have ma'rifah, nakira. Ma'rifah means what?
Masculine.
No, ma'rifah.
Known. Definite.
Known means definite. And nakira is? Indefinite. Then you have marfu, mansub, majzoom. There's no transition to this.
Yeah.
Not majzoom, majroor. That's majzoom for fa'il. Majroor. So marfu, mansub, majroor. And this is an Arabic word. Just learn these terminologies. Then we have wahid, tasniya, jam'. Okay? Singular, dual, and plural. And then we have the gender, which is mudhakkaran, mu'annath. Okay? Carrying on with the recap, we have fa'il, which is what? Madi, mudhari, amar. We never done this in this lesson, but it's been covered where? In sarf. Madi, mudhari, amar. And then harf, we said we'll discuss it in the book as it comes along. Which harf do you remember that came along in the book? Which is called harfun jar. So that's one harf. We never done it in the beginning, but we said it come in the book as we go along. We discuss harf jar. And we also discuss the particle an. Remember an? We discuss the particle an when it's a maf'ul. So this is basically it. Now let's run through some. So ma'rifah, definite, indefinite, singular, dual, plural, masculine, feminine, past, present, future, command. Then the huruf jar and the particle an which came. Okay?
Is atf at the harf or is it?
Yeah, atf is a harf. Yeah, I missed that one out. Wow is harf atf. It's also one particle added in. Good. Right. Now, going back to ma'rifah and nakira, let's analyze this. Ma'rifah and nakira. What must be ma'rifah? In everything we've done, what must be ma'rifah?
A word with the alif lam.
No, but that's how you make it ma'rifah. But in the slots, which slot must be ma'rifah? Mubtada. Good. More specific than mubtada, what must we have alif lam?
No. It's mushar ilay.
The mushar ilay, very good. The mushar ilay must have alif lam. What can't have alif lam or tanween? No.
The mudaf.
The mudaf, very good. The mudaf can't have alif lam or tanween. And the rest can be either. So if we look back, so we done this is a characteristic of an ism. But then this characteristic, how does it apply not only in that little corner that we studied at the beginning, how does it apply holistically and totally? It applies like this, that in terms of ma'rifah nakira, mubtada must be ma'rifah. Mushar ilay must have alif lam. What can have any of the ma'rifah nakira signs? Mudaf. And everything else is just free. There's no rules that bind them. Yeah? Make sense? Yeah. Right. Now let's look at this. In terms of i'rab, so we done ma'rifah nakira, so D, then I. In terms of i'rab, we say marfu, mansub, majroor. Correct? So certain words, certain slots have a fixed i'rab. For example, fa'il is fixed. What does fa'il have to be? Marfu. Maf'ul has to be mansub. Zarf, it is a mudaf zarf. That has to be what? Mansub. Mubtada has to be khabar has to be mudaf ilay has to be majroor. And majroor has to be majroor. Okay? And then these don't have a fixed slot. These don't have a fixed i'rab.
Depends on its position.
Exactly. So mawsuf, if it's mubtada, it'll be marfu. Wherever this comes in this section, it'll have the i'rab. None of these have a fixed i'rab. The mawsuf, the sifa, the mushar ilay, the mudaf, ma'tuf alayh, ma'tuf. They don't have a fixed i'rab. It depends on what they become in a sentence, which slot they fall under. And these are slots, so these have a fixed position. You understand? These have a fixed i'rab. Yeah? Does it make sense? I'll recap.
Yeah.
Right. Marfu, mansoob, majroor. What's marfu, mansoob, majroor? Single words or normal phrases. So if you have a single word, Zaydun, Rajulun, Rajulan, Rajulin, or Rajulun Salihun, Rajulan Salihan, Rajulin Salihin, it's marfu, mansoob, majroor. But what you say fi mahallil raf, fi mahallil nasab, fi mahallil jar? When it's an adverbial phrase as a khabar. So for example, if you say for example, Al-ilmu indallah. So in the, it's got fatha in it. But it's a zarf. So what do you call this? Fi mahalli raf. Because it's khabar. If a sentence within a sentence, then a sentence has what? You say what a sentence is what? Fi mahalli raf, fi mahalli nas, fi mahalli jar. For example, idha is a mudaf. The sentence after becomes what? Mudaf ilay. So then mudaf ilay is what we've done before, that mudaf ilay must be majroor. But because the sentence doesn't have a kasra, it doesn't have a majroor sign, we say what? Fi mahallil jar. If for example, we have an and a maf'ul. So the sentence becomes maf'ul, but the sentence doesn't have a fatha on it. So we say what? The sentence is fi mahallin nasb. So fi mahallin means it's assumed to be in that slot. And these are ways that you can actually see them. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right. What's marfu'? What's marfu'?
Dhamma.
No, but what word, what slots are marfu'?
Mubtada.
Mubtada,
Khabar.
khabar and
Five.
fa'il. What's mansoob?
Maf'ul.
Maf'ul
And zarf.
and zarf. When the zarf is a mudaf. Okay? Because the majroor doesn't have a slot. And what's majroor?
Mudaf ilay.
Mudaf ilay and the majroor. So these two slots are majroor. Okay? Right. So that's definite. Done. So in terms of definite, mubtada has to be ma'rifah. Musharraf has to have alif lam. Mudaf has none of the two of them. And everything else is open. In terms of i'rab, we did a few rules about i'rab. In terms of number and gender, what has to match in number and gender to the word before? What has to match?
Mubtada.
Not mubtada.
Khabar.
The khabar has to match in number and gender. What else has to match in number and gender?
Mafu.
No, maf'ul doesn't match in number and gender. Can a boy hit a girl? Can a woman?
The fa'il has to match the fa'il.
Yeah, but we haven't done that rule yet. Well, in terms of phrases, which phrases have to match? But what word? What?
Mudaf ilay.
No. Can't a male person own something that's female? Can a man own a kurrasa, which is feminine?
Oh, it would be mushar ilay.
Musharu ilay and sifa.
Sifat also. Oh,
Because hadha tells you hadhani, haulai, hadihi, tilka, tanika. So these have to match. The khabar has to match the mubtada, sifa has to match the mawsoof, and the mushar ilay has to match the ism al-ishara in what? Number and gender. So these must match in number and gender. Are you following? That makes sense? Okay. And in terms of what don't have to match? Everything else. So fa'il has no number gender rules. Maf'ul has no number gender rules. Zarf has no number gender rules. Mudaf ilay, mudaf have no gender rules. Ma'tuf ilay, ma'tuf have no number and gender rules. So number and gender matching only applies to khabar, to match the mubtada, sifa to match the mawsoof, and mushar ilay to match the ism al-ishara. Okay? Right? So every noun has what? D-I-N-G, ding. Correct? So in terms of definite, indefinite, they have certain, what's definite? What has to be ma'rifah?
Mubtada.
Mubtada. What has to have alif lam?
Khabar.
No.
Ma'tuf.
No.
Mush.
Musharun.
Ilay.
Musharun ilay. And what can't have anything? No alif lam or tanween.
Mudaf.
Mudhaf. And everything else is
Everything else.
free. In terms of i'rab. So first thing in terms of i'rab, what is marfu'? Okay, which slots are fixed? Which things have an i'rab? Fa'il is what?
It's marfu.
Marfu'. Maf'ul is what?
Mansoob.
Mansoob. The zarf is the mudhaf zarf. What is that?
Mansoob.
Mansoob. Mudhaf ilay is what?
Majroor.
And jar is, after the jar, the majroor is also
Majroor.
majroor. The mawsoof?
Mansoob. That depends on
Depends. Mawsoof depends. Mudhaf depends. Ma'tuf and ma'tuf ilay depend. Those musharu ilay depends. None of those are fixed. Okay? Yeah, they don't have fixed i'rabs. And then single words you say they are marfu, mansoob, majroor. But sentences within sentences, what do we say about them? They are not marfu, but fi mahallil raf, fi mahallil nas, and fi mahallil jar. That's a definite, indefinite rule done. The i'rab rule then. Correct? In terms of number and gender, what happens in terms of number and gender? What things are limited in its number and gender? No. Khabar, because it has to match the mubtada.
الخبر has to match the مضاف.
No.
صفة.
Sifa has to match what?
The موصول.
Mawsul and Mushar ilayh has to match the Ism al-Ishara. They have to match. Apart from that, everything else is free in number and gender. Yep. So those are the rules of D, I, and G, which we covered initially, are spread across the whole book now. Does that make sense? Right. Well, but let's go on. So now we finish the first aspect, words. Okay. There's lots about verbs, but we haven't done that. We'll do that next year, inshallah. Okay. All of these about verbs and also about huruf. Okay. But in terms of jumla, let's go to sentences now. So you have a jumla. So jumla can be fi'liya or it can be ismiya. Fi'liya is made of what? فعل فاعل مفعول and ظرف. Jumla ismiya is made of what? Mubtada khabar. And all of these are called what? Slot. So a sentence is made up of what? Slots. And these slots can be what? A single word, or it can be a pronoun, or it can be a phrase, or it can be a sentence. So any of these sentences here, sentence, made up of slots. And each of these slots can be, well, except fail, but all of these slots can be what? Either a single word, a pronoun, a phrase, or a sub-sentence, meaning a sentence within a sentence. Yeah, is it making sense? Right. And then you join one sentence to another, to another, to another, and that's how you get the language. Make sense? Right. Then, so, within words, then within sentences, what about pronouns? There can be three types of pronouns: Zamir marfu, Zamir mansub, and Zamir majroor. The Zamir marfu, if it's built into the verb, it becomes what?
Majroor.
Now if it's built into the verb, like daraba, daraba, darabu. No, not added onto it, built into it. Like for example, darabtu, sami'tu, sami'na. What do those become? Zamir al-fa'il.
Oh yeah, that's the fa'il.
Because if it's yasma'u, yasma'ani, asma'u, nasma'u, that's Zamir al-fa'il. And Zamir comes on its own, what does it become? Mubtada. And then the Zamir is joined to the verb, so the verb is there, and after the verb what comes in? Another pronoun onto the verb. What does that become? The clingy baby. What does that become? Zamir maf'ul. Mansub is maf'ul. Yeah? Okay, and then you have what? A Zamir al-majroor. What does that become? Mudaf ilay or the majroor. So after mudaf, you can get a mudaf ilay pronoun. So if a pronoun is joined to a noun, what's that called? Mudaf ilay. And if it's joined to a harf, what's it called? Majroor. Yeah, do you understand? Make sense? So, yeah? Right, what are the phrases?
Descriptive.
What does descriptive mean?
Sifa mawsuf.
Mawsuf sifa. Next one? Demonstrative, which is what? Ismul ishara musharun ilay. Next one is? Mudaf mudaf ilay. Possessive, it shows what? Ownership. Mudaf mudaf ilay. Conjunction?
Ma'tuf, harf al-at, ma'tuf, ma'tuf alayh.
Opposite way around. Ma'tuf alay.
Harf al-at, ma'tuf.
Very good. Then you had? Which is either made of what? Jar majroor or mudaf, which is a zarf. The particular set of words, not any mudaf, because there's no difference between this and this. The difference between these two is that this mudaf must be a zarf. This mudaf can be any noun. And the one that didn't come before, but now we've done it, it's also a phrase. The relative clause, which is a mawsul sila.
Oh yeah, mawsul.
So mawsul sila is also a phrase, isn't it? It takes a position of a sentence. It takes a position of a slot. Okay? So it doesn't come initially, it comes later on. It's also a slot. But then this one can this can become what? This slot can become the sifa as well. Yeah? Now we have sentence within a sentence. So a sentence can be what? A khabar. Yeah? For example, Zaidun yadribu, Zaidun yasma'u. Yep? That comes direct, nothing to be added on. Or the sentence can be a maf'ul. The whole sentence becomes a maf'ul. Come directly. For example, when the verb is qala, he said. So the whole quotation becomes what? The maf'ul. Or it come indirectly. We have to add the word, the particle, and when there's any verb apart from qala, when that becomes a maf'ul. For example, he intended. What did he intend? He intended to do something. So the whole sentence becomes a maf'ul, we have to add the word in. Sentence comes mudaf ilay. When? When you have a word like yawma. Or idha or lamma. So any of those words become mudaf and the sentence becomes what? Mudaf ilay. And that whole mudaf ilay structure becomes what now? Zarf. Yeah? Ma'tuf. When you have two sentences which become part of the khabar or part of the maf'ul or part of something else. And the sentence can become a sifa as well. Or when they become sifa, if the word that is describing the mawsuf is nakira, then the sentence comes directly without any addition. And if the word you're describing is ma'rifah, you have to add what? Mawsul sila. You have to add alladhi and then mawsul sila become the sifa. That makes sense? That's it. Does that kind of summarize?
Yeah, it's a good summary.
Yeah? So keep this in mind. So these words make sentences. Sentences can be broken down into phrases. Phrases can be then what?
Pronoun.
Well, instead of having, no, not phrase or pronoun, but instead of the slots, instead of being a phrase, it can also be a pronoun. And then within those slots, what can you have? Sentences. And then once you got one sentence, you join it to another sentence. And also remember this. This table we've done. You have a jumla, and jumla can be what? Fa'liya ismiya. Fa'liya is going to be fa'il, fa'il, maf'ul, or zarf, and mubtada and khabar. Right? These are all what? Slots.
Yeah.
And the slots can be what? This is going to be a verb. And the rest can all be what? An ism. Wherever you get an ism, what can you do now? Replace it with what?
Phrases.
Phrase or a pronoun. So phrase. So fa'il, maf'ul, zarf, mubtada, khabar. It can be a phrase. What kind of phrase? Any of the normal phrases. Mawsuf sifa, ism al-ishara, musharun ilay, ma'tuf alayh, ma'tuf, or mudaf ilayh. Not the zarf phrase. Okay? So any of these phrases can come in any of these slots. Then the other phrase we have is a zarf phrase. It can only come where? As a zarf or as a jar majrur, come the khabar. Okay? So this zarf phrase, meaning the mudaf ilayh zarf or the jar majrur zarf. They come in these two slots only, nowhere else. Okay? And then instead of that, you can have what? Pronoun. So pronoun can be a fa'il, it can be a maf'ul, it can be a mubtada, it can be khabar in theory, it's also mudaf ilayh. Correct? Yeah. And then, the same way that, then these can also be sentences. This can be a sentence, that can be a sentence, this can be a sentence, that can be a sentence, this can be a sentence, these can be sentences, and also sifa can be a sentence. Correct? We haven't discussed this one. When the maf'ul is a sentence, if the verb is qala, it comes directly without any kind of additions. If the maf'ul is of a sentence, but the verb is not qala, what do you have to add on? An. In mubtada, we haven't done that, we haven't discussed that. In khabar, the sentence comes out directly, no additions. Mudaf ilay, directly, no additions. Okay? Ma'tuf alayh ma'tuf, no additions, add it on normally. And in sifa,
Mawsul sila, or if it's nakira and it's ma'rifah, it's normal.
not for ma'rifah. If it's ma'rifah, it's mawsul sila. So mawsul sila become the sifa.
Yeah.
And if it's nakira, then you add it on directly. Nasukul ma'a ila al juruzi, فنخرج به زرعا تأكل منه أنعامهم أنفسهم. Remember yesterday we done that one? So because the zar'an was nakira, comes directly. If it's ma'rifah, you have to add what? You have to add alladhi. Is this set in your mind?
It's getting there. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, it's getting there.
Yeah?
It's just,
Now what happens now? This is a structure, so you understand how the sentences add up and how they fit together. You need vocabulary, that will come with practice and reading more books. And then other technical grammatical rules, we have to do those. But the purpose of this book was just to give you so you can and visualize and try to figure out. Alhamdulillah, you done well yesterday in the revision exercise we done. Obviously, you had the vocabulary. I had to give you help with the vocabulary and putting it together because you don't have practice and translation. That will come in the workbook. But I think you understanding the structures, and obviously with more practice, you'll pick it up quicker. But you are understanding. Okay, so that's it. Inshallah, the revision is finished. Alhamdulillah, through the grace of Allah, our small little booklet is complete.
Jazakallah.
Only a small little booklet, but still Allah's help anyways. So, any questions? Right. So, inshallah, we'll see you after Ramadan. And then we start, inshallah, the exercise. We actually then go through a workbook, so you can actually start implementing all of these theory. Because theory is a theory, and you have to actually get your hands dirty, get into the language, then you can understand. But obviously, with this setup, you can easily make it much easier for you to then start analyzing and translating. Okay.
Inshallah, I think we'll pick it up quicker next year as well.
Yeah.
It's be revision. It will
Yeah, be revision.
help the other brothers.
Yeah. Any questions? You understand? You have not memorized the terminology, you've understood, haven't you? Yeah. And as we go through much slower, then you have time to then learn the words bit by bit. So that shouldn't be a problem, inshallah. Okay, anything else?
No, it's that.
Subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanaka Allahumma, bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Yeah.